Good day, this is Professor Will, CBMD PhD. Today is Wednesday, March 27, 2019. It's 13:15, 20 seconds Eastern Standard Time. And this is a brief description on biological oxygen demand, BOD. So let's get started here. Biological oxygen demand, BOD. Biological oxygen demand is a measure of dissolved oxygen that microorganisms can use for decomposing organic matter. For this reason, BOD is sometimes referred to as biochemical oxygen demand. The wastewater treatment industry monitors BOD in assessing the quality of treated water released from a treatment plant. BOD gives microbiologists and plant operators an idea of the level of organic matter in water, which may create a threat to aquatic ecosystems when this water enters the environment. Waters high in BOD cause blooms to occur in surface waters in the environment. A bloom is a rapid burst of microbial growth in response to a sudden influx of nutrients. In a bloom, water microorganisms grow so rapidly that they consume all of the water's dissolved oxygen within a localized area. The oxygen-depleted water then asphyxiates fish and other organisms dependent on dissolved oxygen. Waters high in BOD increase the risk of starting a bloom, and consequently BOD has been used as a sign of water pollution. Oxygen-demanding waste act as one of the major sources of water pollution along the inorganic chemicals, organic chemicals, compounds high in nitrates and phosphates, dirt erosion, and radioactive material. Animal waste and plant debris also add oxygen-demanding matter to natural waters. Animal feedlots, farms, paper mills, and food processing facilities each day contribute tons of substances that raise the BOD levels in water. Examples of specific waste from human activities and natural events that contribute to BOD are the following: manure, sewage, grass clippings, tree trimmings, leaves, dead plants, food waste, and drainage from swamps and bogs. Organisms, in addition to microorganisms, constantly draw oxygen out of natural waters. Respiration by fish, vertebrates, and invertebrates in water or within sediments require oxygen. Sediments at the bottom of natural waters have high respiration rates, so scientists have devised a measurement called sediment oxygen demand, SOD. SOD works in similar ways to BOD, but it defines conditions in aquatic sediments rather than water. Some non-biological reactions called oxidation also consume some of the dissolved oxygen in water and sediment. The BOD test. Microbiologists who monitor the operations of a wastewater treatment plant measure BOD using a laboratory test developed in the United Kingdom in the early 1900s. One disadvantage of this test is the long time it requires to give a result. Though BOD tests have been developed to take 5 to 10 to 20 or as long as 30 days to complete, the wastewater treatment industry almost exclusively uses a 5-day test. This is sometimes referred to as the BOD sub-5. The following outline summarizes the steps of the BOD sub-5 test. 1. Collect 250 to 300 milliliters of water sample. 2. Measure the sample's dew level by either chemical test or an electronic probe. 3. Seal the bottle and incubate the sample for 5 days at 68 degrees Fahrenheit to 20 degrees Celsius. Typical BOD values: 1 to 2, very good, low amounts of organic matter. 3 to 5, fair, moderately clean, and small amount of organic matter, possibly waste. 6 to 9, poor, polluted with organic matter which microorganisms degrade. And more than 100, very poor, very polluted with organic waste. Rising BOD levels quickly disrupt normal aquatic ecosystems and severely harm oxygen cycling from the earth to the atmosphere and back. In aquatic ecosystems, oxygen is a premium. Water normally contains less than 1% oxygen. When dissolved oxygen falls below about 5 milligrams per liter, many aquatic species become stressed. This stress weakens their health and leads to infection, disease, and death. Meanwhile, other organisms tolerate of low oxygen levels, take their place, and further deplete the oxygen. As dissolved oxygen falls below 2 milligrams a liter, fish begin dying. Below 1 milligram, anaerobic bacteria outgrow the struggling anaerobic bacteria that remains. As anaerobic species decompose organic matter, they produce gases such as methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and hydrogen sulfide. The release of these gases from aquatic environments indicates that an aerobic ecosystem has turned into an anaerobic one. The wastewater treatment industry divides BOD into two components: carbonaceous biological oxygen demand, CBOD, and nitrogenous oxygen demand, NOD. CBOD results from the breakdown of organic molecules, cellulose, starch, sugars into carbon dioxide and water. NOD results from the decomposition of proteins. When microorganisms degrade proteins, they release sugars normally attached to the protein. This reaction leaves behind an ammonia NH3 compound which nitrifying bacteria readily convert to nitrates NO3. This oxidation step requires more than 4 times the oxygen needed in converting sugars to carbon dioxide and water. Said another way, the reaction has a very high oxygen demand. During the 5-day incubation period, bacteria in the water sample continue degrading any organic matter in the bottle. A large amount of dew in the starting sample results in a large difference between day 1 and day 5 value. This in turn produces a high BOD value. Conversely, small changes between days 1 and 5 indicate water is low in organic matter. Water bacteria actually take up to 20 days to digest all the organic matter in heavily polluted water. The test that takes almost 3 weeks is impractical for wastewater treatment. By the time the results are available, the treated water has long since left the treatment plant. In 5 days, however, bacteria can degrade 60 to 70% of organic matter. Microbiologists have learned from years of running the BOD test that 5 days is a satisfactory period to assess water quality. Although testing for BOD has drawbacks that are being bypassed by newer test methods, BOD has remained a useful means for assessing general water quality. Good day, this is Professor Will, CBMD, PhD. Today's Wednesday, March 27, 2019. And this is the end of my brief description on biological oxygen demand, BOD. Hope you enjoyed listening. Have a great day.